Welcome back, everyone. Game number 2 here between WhiteRa and Stephano. This time we are here on Shakura's Plateau. We have got in the lower right-hand position Stephano spawning as our pink Zerg player. And then over here in the upper left, we have got WhiteRa as the red Protoss player. Yes, this is game number 2 here between WhiteRa and Stephano. Again, on Shakura's Plateau, WhiteRa winning a game 1 with some impressive Blink Stalker micro. We saw some pretty aggressive play there from Stephano. WhiteRa opening up with a Forge Fast Expand into a third. Now this caused Stephano to try to push out with an attack. And this first engagement, he did all right with Corruptors able to snipe down some of those Colossus that WhiteRa had. However, WhiteRa's Stalker forces were just too strong, forced Stephano back, and then Stephano moved into a high yield expansion. His second engagement, unfortunately walking right into a nice force field split there by WhiteRa, and I think that was a pretty crucial point in the game. It was really was a turning point because WhiteRa just completely dominated that second big engagement, and this allowed him to mount up a little bit stronger of a force push out to the center. He took out the high yield to Stephano, and then the game was pretty much in the bag from there. It was 3 base Protoss versus 3 base Zerg, and that's almost going to be a win for the P every single time. It's just really not a good situation for a Zerg player to be 3 base versus 3 base against a Protoss opponent. And both players, I mean, in terms of upgrades and stuff, they were pretty much even. We saw about the same upgrades for weapons and armor. WhiteRa opening up with 1-1 and Stephano opening up with 2-0 as opposed weapons instead of getting any armor. And then of course we saw Bro and Blink, but I don't know why I'm just rambling on. That was a pretty interesting game. Again, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Here we are at game number 2. Stephano again opening up with some 1-base play, going for the spawning pool first, and it does appear like WhiteRa, that's not a Forge Fast Expand. No, it is not. That is a gateway. So opening up with a wall off there at the front, but not coming out with that Forge, which is pretty much what's expected. I think this is going to be one of those kind of mind game situations here where WhiteRa, instead of going for the standard, I mean, almost always in PvZ on this map in particular, it's Forge Fast Expand every time. Going gateway first, though, and delaying not getting that Forge and not getting those cannons, going to allow him to save up some resources and actually tech up pretty quickly here with this expansion. So it just will be interesting. Now, the major concern in something like this, though, is that if Stephano scouted it out early enough, he could really punish WhiteRa for doing this, because without those cannons as defense, Stephano would have a pretty easy time of busting through that front wall, whether it be Roach Speedling or even going for some Banelings. He can actually do a pretty good job. The only response really, of course, is we are going to expect to see a Cybercore, obviously, but right away we should be seeing some sentries here. So that's kind of the only caveat to what I did just say. One Zealot making its way across the map. Zergling will be chasing WhiteRa back home. WhiteRa losing the pylon over there. That obviously got him taken care of there. A couple of Zerglings, actually just 4 on the map. Zealot will be shooing back that Zergling from actually getting any scouting information. There's a second gateway as well as that Cybercore. So again, he saves resources in the sense that he doesn't need the Forge anymore, and he doesn't need the 1 or 2 cannons that he would otherwise get. And this allows him to get this assimilator a little bit earlier, and it allows him to kind of go along a normal tech path, with the notable exception of this Nexus thrown into the build order. These few Zerglings really don't stand a chance right now against 2 Zealots and a Probe. They're actually chasing down the Probe. Very nice. Unfortunately, there WhiteRa didn't micro that away. Only 1 kill right now for this Zealot, but look at what this is forcing Stephano to do. Stephano coming out with 12 Zerglings just to deal with 2 Zealots. And let's take a look at this trade-off. WhiteRa could really do a lot of damage, especially if he gets his positioning right here with those Zealots. He just wants to make sure he's not getting surrounded. You can see him just kind of dancing around right now, and Stephano knows this, and so he's being very careful about his point of engagement, just actually using the Queen right now to try to soften up those Zealots. Here comes the surround, managing to get on all sides, and that is not what WhiteRa wanted. A little bit of a miss micro. Very nice there by Stephano. It allowed him to get that full surround with those Speedlings. That turned out perfectly for Stephano, I must say. 2 Zerglings grab control of the center of the map right now. We'll be taking those Zelnaga towers, and then once realizing that there's no more scouting information, we'll be splitting up with those Zerglings. And look at that beautiful split. Stephano looking pretty impressive here, sending Zerglings all over the place. He's just fanning out across the map right now. Pretty much what he's doing is checking for proxy pylons. Look at those Zerglings. He's being so active with that shift attack command. That is beautiful, and he did that so quickly too. I'm impressed. Very nice. It's something so small like that, but again, just seeing such activity early early on is pretty impressive. Stephano coming out with a third expansion to deal with this quick expand here from WhiteRa. And again, with those sentries, he should actually be okay because all you need is 2 force fields to completely block this wall off. So he's not too concerned about any push, and maybe that's why he actually decided to kind of mix things up and go just a gateway expand as opposed to the forge expand, because he realizes, hey, all I need is 2 sentries, and I can force field out an army for a significant amount of time, allowing me to warp in additional reinforcements, and there you go. All right, so what we're going to be seeing right now is a robotics facility out here for WhiteRa. Let's see if WhiteRa decides to go again with some warp prism play. I would actually really like to see that. Hopefully, it could be a little more effective than it was last game, although, you know, for Stephano's sake, maybe he'll be able to stop it as well. Third expansion almost done right now for Stephano, continuing to fan out with those Zerglings. Look at that surfing Zergling. He just looks so awesome. He's having such a great day. He just hops every couple of feet. He's just like, run, 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 hop. Run, 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 hop. Oh, I love Zergling. So awesome. Moving on up right now, scouting out the production buildings there at the front. You also want to see if there was any warp gate research or anything like that going on. That is done, but WhiteRa still hasn't turned these into warp gates yet. He has got a warp prism coming out, so yes, WhiteRa will be trying to do that warp prism harass again. And I'm excited because this is just, it's a really awesome style of play. I don't feel like I see it enough, and I really wish I did. I like any type of early game aggression that you can sneak in without completely hindering yourself is awesome. And although WhiteRa kind of got a little hurt last time he tried early game aggression, again, hopefully this game he'll fare a little bit better. One thing that I would like to see him do, try to avoid any Overlord scouts. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Now he's got a lot of gateways in the mix. 3 more warping in. He has got 3 right there. 2 more down here. 8 gate. Plus a robotics sitting off of 2 bases. Moving on down, gets scouted again. Oh my gosh, Stephano with those impeccably placed overlords, managing to scout out the warp prism, forcing him to pull back with those Zerglings, build up a bunch of roaches, and he's gonna have pretty much no problem dealing with this. The only thing though is we've got some sweet force field action, lots of zealots. A couple of stalkers coming in, and this is just going to be a straight up push. Now, the major issue right now for Stephano is if we see some force fields down here. Oh, WhiteRa, I need you to get down there with those force fields, please. No, getting surrounded. And Stephano mopping up this push. I think that WhiteRa could have done much better there. Not taking anything away from WhiteRa. He's obviously an amazing player, but really what he had to do was get those sentries about here and just lay down constant force fields, and he would have had this expansion, no questions asked. That would have been his for the taking, but right now he's just going to continue to just kind of pussyfoot around the issue here. There's really nothing he can do. I mean, he's spotted. This harass is not going to be effective. He might try to wedge himself in and land some force fields down, but he still is not very likely to do a lot of damage, and there you go, Warp Prism has been pushed back right now. We got an observer over here just scouting out the third. Man, I wish the sentries got placed here, and we saw a force field wall, and then WhiteRa just could have taken out this expansion. No questions asked. That would have been beautiful, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. WhiteRa just not getting that right positioning that he needs, and again, Stephano fully prepared for this, really not having much of an issue dealing with this. We got the Warp Prism trying to push on back over here. Not sure that's going to do too much. A couple sentries moving down, a couple of force fields getting placed down. And we're going to be seeing a couple of drones die as a result. Zealot kind of twitching out over there. That's not supposed to be happening. And he's going to chill out there and try to do a little bit more damage. Sentries get picked up. Now, all the meanwhile, what has been happening, WhiteRa deciding to come out with some Colossus play. Also against a bunch of Stalkers here in the mix as well. Got those Thermal Lance coming up. Upgrades coming out as well. Weapons level 2 actually working its way on through. Sentry's trying to drop over here and harass a little bit more. But again, unfortunately, WhiteRa really not able to do much at all with that harass. In fact, he's quite a bit behind right now because of the units he has lost in attempt of this harass. Again, just not that effective. Really unfortunate situation there for WhiteRa. But you know what? Great for Stephano. He's got a Spire up right now. Is he still? Yes, he is. Of course, just sitting on layer. Macro Hatch is over here. Sentry's still trying to do a little bit of damage. Getting 1 kill here, 1 kill there. But that's about it. We've got 10 Mutalisks coming out, 13 Mutalisks coming out. That number may just keep climbing. It's now at 14. Also, the Flyer attack level 1 upgrade as well here for Stephano coming out of that Spire. So very nice. Going to be getting some upgrades for that. And he will be sitting with a lot of Mutalisks. That is quite a bit. And it should allow him to be very effective with harass. And obviously it will also allow him to take out this Warp Prism. What the hell is going on right now? Warp Prism powered up on the ground, and there we go, finally pulling back. And again, we have got those mutas in play, so this is going to be it. The War Prism finally meeting its demise. Muta's taking him out. And then they should be heading straight to WhiteRa's base for some sort of a counterattack. That's what I hope to see. But here comes a push right now for WhiteRa. He's trying to deter that Muta harass. Pushing out across the map. We've got about 40 Zerglings just about to pop. They'll be bulking up with the rest of the forces as well as those Mutas meeting up in one big group. And then trying to push WhiteRa back. WhiteRa trying to push forward with that engagement. Here come the Speedlings and Roaches. Muta's moving in straight away, targeting down those Colossus. Those get dropped so quick, allowing those Speedlings to move on up on those Stalkers and do a bit of damage, but those Speedling numbers getting pretty low. You just need to be careful. They're not the greatest against the Stalkers. We still got some Roaches hidden there underneath those Mutas. I completely didn't see them underneath that Muta cloud, and those Roaches just tearing through those Stalkers. WhiteRa losing everything and calling the good game. After some failed War Prism harass, WhiteRa tried pushing out with a Stalker-heavy Colossus composition. However, he was met by the full force of a 4-base Zerg with Speedling, Roach, and Muta. And Stephano had enough to deal with this, and he was about to push out for the counterattack, but WhiteRa preemptively just called the GG. Alright guys, thank you so much. That was game number 2 here between Stephano and WhiteRa. Moving on to game 3 in just one moment. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.